All right. Hello, Walla. Keith Halak, Keith Halak. Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar where we take you on a journey on how to go composable, right, with your infrastructure. So, just to set the scene here, reason why we're having this webinar is that we received a lot of interest when it comes down to going composable. So, welcome to all the attendees I see flooding in as we speak. Now, just to kick things off, let's set the scene. In today's agenda, what we want you to do, we want you to be able to walk away to see if Composable is the right fit for you. And if it is, we can highlight what opportunities it can open up within your organization and how can you best get started, if so. And if you're not the right fit right now, what do you need to change in order to make that Composable journey happen? So first of all, we will give you a quick round of introductions with our fantastic panel group we have here. Then afterwards, we will dive into a quick refresher about composable commerce and how it can unlock certain opportunities within your business. Then we will smoothly transition into the importance of an omni-channel orchestration, right? So customer experience needs to be seamless across all channels. Very relevant, interesting topic. We will dive into that. And then from the front end, we can dive into the back end, right? What engine needs to power this whole engine? And from that point onwards, we will dive into how you can actually get started, right? So we have a little bit of detective reasons why. We will dive into how we can get started. And then last but not least, questions always appear here, right? So we will leave 15 minutes towards the end to dive into any questions, which you can write down in the comment section here, by the way. So just ask that question. If we can't answer it live, we will get back to you at the end with an email. And then last but not least, I do want to highlight that we will be actually in Riyadh at Seamless coming week, Monday and Tuesday. So if you have any questions after this webinar, feel free to make your way over there. And there will also be a slide at the end highlighting where our booth is. So with the introductions, time to introduce this fantastic panel group who come from leading organizations when it comes down to actually going composable. So first but not least, we have James Brown from Commercetools, who's the sales director over there. We have from Contentful, Olivia Berkmans, who's the partner sales manager. We have our very own Chantal Herbs, who's the managing director here of Vaimo Middle East. And my name is Ewout. I am working for Vaimo as well, and I'm responsible as the head of sales. I will now hand the floor over to Chantal, who will refresh your minds on how to unlock opportunities when embarking on this composable journey. So Chantal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ewout, and welcome everyone to our live webinar. I will kick us off today with a couple of thoughts regarding the shift in digital commerce over the past decade or so. Over the past 15 years, e-commerce has evolved from a rush to establish an online presence to a dynamic landscape focused on customer centricity and engagement. Businesses aim to be pioneers in the online space and simply sell products, so primarily focusing on digital success through only sales and how quickly they can get their products online to sell to potential customers. Back then, there was really no need to search for untapped market opportunities because the entire internet was essentially an untapped market. With this newly created market being really hungry, the concept of customer experience was not really a top priority. So if we fast forward to today, and if we would say that e-commerce industry has evolved significantly, that would really be an understatement. Most of those gaps in the market have already been filled and products are readily available and easy to ship online. Basically, it has never been easier and faster to sell your products online. Especially here in the Middle East, consumers have become more and more tech savvy and have extremely high expectations when it comes to shopping online. We expect a super app like Kareem, fast delivery solutions like your Amazons, your Talabats. This highlights that there is a huge trend and hunger for digital commerce in the Middle Eastern market. In the current era, it is crucial to differentiate oneself from the competition more than ever before. Why? Well, everyone is online, and your customers has exceptionally high expectations when shopping on your store. Compared to the last, let's call it old days, where the primary focus was mainly on establishing an online presence, today it's imperative to be online and stand out at the same time. The modern e-commerce ecosystem prioritizes user experience, personalization, and a seamless omni-channel interaction. This shift reflects a strategic move towards holistic customer relationships, leveraging technology not only for transactions, but for building lasting brand connections. But how to get there? How do we figure out how to become the best? What route to take and what investments to make? The market offerings today is ever growing, and all these shiny tools and platforms and services that is currently out there, they all promise to be the ultimate solution that best fits your need. A Martech tech report that is shown here serves as a bit of a reality check. It allows us to comprehend the landscape much better. However, with over 8,000 options around there, it's impossible to determine which solution are best suited for your business. Also, given the rising volume and available options in this and the space at which they are getting to market, the task of navigating this maze of opportunities and options are just not getting easier. But don't worry, there is good news and there is a light in the tunnel. And it comes in two forms: experienced partners who have been through this process before, and a well-defined digital strategy to drive your business forward. However, it's not just about selecting the appropriate technology. It's also about clients and client expectations. And nowadays, customers are becoming increasingly demanding. Even a minor inconsistency during the buyer journey can cause them to abandon their purchase. Along with this, customers have become more educated. So they expect more advanced features, such as click and collect, real-time stock availability, sustainability information, and so on. You simply cannot overlook the customer experience and solely focus on the selling component when it comes to digital commerce. The evolution of customer experience highlights the importance of composable architecture. If you grasp this concept, you've already made significant progress in understanding why it's necessary. In the mid-2000s, companies offered a single channel experience, with digitalization just starting to gain momentum. E-commerce back then was typically siloed and not part of the core business model at that time. Then around 2012, the penetration of smartphones and the growth of the e-com pushed us into the omni-channel era, and retailers followed by launching transformation programs to provide experience to their customers. In this decade, businesses have invested significantly in upscaling their digital customer experience. They went beyond offering products in multiple channels to actually deep diving and understanding their customers better, and to create experiences that's relevant across multiple channels. So today, consumers have more touch points in their purchasing journey than ever before. In 2001, the average consumer typically used 2 touch points. Today, consumers use an average of almost 6 touch points. This evolution highlights the importance of offering a seamless, consistent, and integrated experience across multiple channels. So what are the top level drivers that leads to growth and success in this entire digital landscape? Well, firstly, business agility. When a company is agile, they can quickly change and develop their core business and more easily seize the new opportunities when they arise. Secondly, obsession with customer experience and driving value. Meaning companies should strive to influence a larger part of the customer journey by prioritizing the full end-to-end customer journey to provide an exceptional customer experience that is seamless and based on genuine customer needs. Businesses should not only focus on conversion optimization, for example, the purchase transaction itself. Thirdly, data, data, data. In order to enable all of the above, a more complete data architecture is needed, as well as good operating methods around data, so that data can be utilized in the channels where it's necessary for both development and further development of the customer experience. You cannot optimize and personalize an experience if you do not understand what you need to optimize and who you are optimizing it for. In the Middle East, the adoption of digital trends often follow global patterns. The Middle East has been experiencing significant growth in e-commerce and digital transformation over the past decade, and actually even more so in recent years, with consumers increasingly turning to online channels for shopping and businesses seeking to advance their online presence. Composable commerce, with its focus on flexibility, adaptability, and personalized experience, aligns well with the goals of businesses in the region to provide a seamless and dynamic customer experience. Of course, there's technology trends, but moving from traditional e-com to a composable solution cannot only be justified by IT-related advantages, but business drivers and foundations must also be evaluated. Due to the hype and trendiness, there's a risk that someone might think that it's a good approach for everyone and not evaluate the applicability to their own organization at the necessary levels. I will get back to this point in more detail shortly. Let's look at what is composable commerce. Taking an example of a Mac computer that reflects a platform based on architecture, it follows a principle and architecture that the manufacturer has predefined. It is usually part of a larger ecosystem with many potential benefits for certain larger groups, such as the ease of integration and the rest of the ecosystem and pre-built functions. It offers a lot of benefits and value for money if you need to match the systems, if your needs match the system's operating logic and usability. Systems can at least be partially customized, but just like the Mac, you'll reach a point where you need to upgrade the entire system to a newer version. Usually a platform lifecycle fits within the bracket of 5 to 8 years. If we look at the composable architecture, which is based on a set of building blocks, it allows you to add, replace, and improve certain parts of your system, mostly in isolation with other parts. This gives significant flexibility and enables the optimization of every part of the system in the form of flexible overall architecture. This way, you can more easily avoid significant total platform projects, which can take a very long time and can be a significant one-time investment. But like the PC, and especially its assembly, it requires a higher level of technical expertise and architectural understanding to ensure that the right building blocks are in place and work together seamlessly. So how can composable commerce look like in practice? This diagram might look overwhelming to some, but in fact, it's an extremely simple setup. Let me explain this diagram by using a very simple example. So composable commerce is like building a custom hamburger, but just for your online store. Just like you can pick your own burger ingredients, composable commerce lets businesses pick and choose different pieces of technology to create their perfect e-commerce setup. Imagine your online store is made up of building blocks, and each block does a specific job, like handling payments, managing product listing, or showing customer reviews. With composable commerce, you can swap in and out any of these blocks needed without changing the entire store. This way, you're not stuck with a pre-made burger that might have ingredients that you don't want. Instead, you get to design your e-commerce, your meal, by combining the pieces that works for you and your business. It's like a puzzle where you get to choose which pieces go where, making your online store more flexible, efficient, and able to adapt to changes in the market quickly. So how does composable commerce drive efficiency between teams and departments? Imagine your business is like a big puzzle, and each department is a piece of that puzzle. In a traditional setup, all the puzzle pieces are stuck together. If one piece needs to be changed, the whole puzzle has to be taken apart and be put back together, which can be slow and complicated. Now enter the world of composable commerce. It's like having a puzzle with pieces fit together through magnets. They connect easily and come apart just as easily. When different departments work on their pieces on the puzzle, they don't need to worry about other pieces. They need to make the changes. If they need to make changes in any way, they can do it without affecting the rest of the puzzle. Plus, imagine your business has branches all over the world. With composable commerce, each branch uses the same puzzle pieces that everyone else is using. So if your team in one country finds a better piece for the part of the puzzle, the other teams can also use it without needing to change everything. In a traditional setup, when one piece of the puzzle changes, it's almost like a domino effect. Everything can get disrupted. But with composable commerce, each puzzle piece can be changed and improved without knocking over the whole puzzle. This makes teams more efficient because they can focus on their specific tasks and make improvements without causing chaos to everyone else. As I mentioned before, when evaluating the suitability of a composable strategy, the evaluation should be holistic. Here's some guidelines to evaluate your business suitability. Strategic suitability. Take into account the nature and size of the business. What kind of agility is needed now and in the future? Your organizational suitability. In general, what are your digital capabilities and opportunities to carry out digital projects? In some, especially large companies, this may also need to an update in procurement processes and conditions. Technology suitability. In other words, how does modularity fit into the broader spectrum of your IT strategy? Also outside of the digital commerce, what are your abilities in-house and in the partner field? So just a few takeaways. By adapting a composable commerce solutions, organizations are able to enhance their customer experience, orchestrate an efficient omni-channel solution, become more agile with faster go-to-market initiatives and scalability, drive a world-class best-of-breed architecture solution. Composable commerce is not a copy and paste solution or a one-size-fits-all. It's a complementary enabler to your overall digital strategy. When considering composable commerce, companies should assess its alignment with both technical capabilities and overall business strategy to ensure it empowers adaptability and personalized customer experience while supporting the organizational growth goals. And on that note, I would like to hand over to Olivier from Contentful, who will be discussing the importance of omnichannel orchestration of content at scale.
Thank you, Chantel. So I will take the next 10 minutes or so to give a quick introduction of on Contentful. Simply said, Contentful is a composable content platform. So Chantel explained the interest of a composable architecture, and in this architecture, the content piece is managed with Contentful. We see brands now that need to really enhance their customer experience, that are shifting from classical content management systems or digital experience platform to Contentful. So I'm ready to bet that those two acronyms, CMS, DXP, will probably disappear from the conversations within a couple of years, just like web content management, WCM, disappeared from this conversation in the past decade. So why Contentful? Okay, sorry. A bit fast. So why Contentful? We currently live in a digital-first world. And in this world, content is the customer experience. Practically speaking, for example, in everyday life, I'm sitting waiting for my train, I'm browsing on my mobile, there is an ad pop-up for a product that looks interesting to me. I click on it. I'm redirected to a website where I can get more information about this product, not only technical description and price, but also some side contents that will inspire me. And this is important. I'm convinced, I add the product to the cart and I check out. I receive a confirmation email. It's sent to me with some purchase info, but also with complementary info, for example, on the return policy or the warranty specific to this product. There is also a link to contact support service if I need it. And when I click on this link, I get directed to this support site, maybe depending on my language, maybe depending on my location and so on. So we see that we have multiple content that is everywhere in our day-to-day life. And brands, what they need today, they need freedom to build these digital relationships throughout this journey with all their customers. And this freedom requires content that is infinitely composable. If you take the old content management world again, there were only few predictable formats, few predictable devices. And if content was siloed for those applications, that was okay. You would set up specialized platforms, tightly handling together both the application code and the content. But remember this situation, the developers were often required for any kind of change, which meant huge efforts from developers, but also increased time to deliver. And this was creating a certain frustration over the business users, say the marketers, the merchandisers in particular, who have had to wait a lot and sometimes not being correctly understood. So at the end, it was bringing bad user experience, bad customer experience. And Contentful was born from this observation. With Contentful, typically, you are in the composable content world and you create content once, you can reuse it everywhere for as many applications as you want. And so that way you can easily think of all kinds of applications that can leverage your digital content. You can think about e-commerce purpose, but you can also think about marketing campaigns, press releases, knowledge base, typically, or even internal portal for your employees or your partners. In Contentful, how does it work? You can define a content, what we call simply a content graph that brings together all the contents that you have throughout your organization. So remember, you don't have to duplicate. You just have to, let's say, model this content structure. And within the Contentful platform, typically this content is then aggregated, organized, categorized. Thus, content such as videos, images, descriptions, and so on can be orchestrated and delivered for any kind of use cases and across all kind of devices. So that way you can, yeah. But let's not forget that these experiences are built collaboratively by a number of people, and each can handle a different responsibility of role. Typically, you have, you know that you have editors, you can have reviewers, you can have translators, sorry, you can have approvers. All kind of roles or profile can really work together throughout the workflows that are also included or embedded in this in Contentful. So you are sure that you are really at your disposition governance tool for content production processes. So it means that think about that with this facilities, you can have the best shopping experiences across devices. Just an illustration here with, say, a customer addressing, with Composable Content platform, you can instantly compose your applications through all devices. This really ensures cross devices a consistent and compelling customer experience. The pinnacle in terms of customer experience is today illustrated with what we call transmedia storytelling. So we already have a few customers that are implementing this. Let's say we can really literally speak of a customer journey happening via multiple channels. I will take the simple example of Wayfair. Wayfair is selling home furniture in the US, so they may not be known everywhere in the world, but in the US they are very well known. And for example, sometimes they place products in a typical TV show. And when people are attending this TV show, they can be interested by some of these furniture. So what happens is that they can jump, for example, to their favorite social media or the website of the TV show, where they can retrieve the same inspiration. And eventually, they can have temporary promotions on the specific furniture that is visible in this show. So we see that throughout multiple devices, multiple channels, we have this transmedia storytelling driving the customer to hopefully what is expected, the conversion, the online conversion. So I would say that want to remember that today we have thousands of global brands that have freed their teams to build what's next with Contentful. I would invite you to see our multiple customer use case that are available on our website. And it's not necessarily bound to a specific industry, so you will have on your also some a lot of inspirations by going to our website and see what use case can eventually correspond to your specific needs. I will just refer to a couple of those customer case. We have Bang & Olufsen, for example. Before Contentful, they had two different solutions to manage their, on one hand, their .com site, and on the other hand, their online store. And people had to switch from one to the other when they started their journey. For example, from the .com site, they had to switch to the online store, where they completely lost the context they were in. So this was resulting in a high abandon rate for B&O online. After Contentful, they simply saw a 60% increase in the conversion rate by redesigning all those applications and bringing them together in a single, let's say, consistent experience. And another reference here is electronic arts, a completely different industry. And electronic arts, by connecting the dots of their content graph, as illustrated before, they were able to personalize the in-game experiences in such a way that a gamer was at the end spending 40% more time on average in-game due to relevant content that was presented in this context. So this is these are two different examples that efficiently leverage this content management, this content experience. So to end my speech here, going to composable content with Contentful will allow your team to think about and adopt new ways of working. And I will leave you with those questions that you can ask yourself, different questions. And if you answer yes to those, time has come to think about moving to a composable content solution. Thank you for your attention. I introduced one facet of the Launchpad offering, and let's now see how composability brought to the online shopping experience with commerce, which is the main focus point here. And for that, I will hand the microphone over to James, the Regional Director for Commercetools.
Thank you, Olivier. Hello, everyone. Again, welcome to our webinar today. I will be going through a number of different points today around, I think, looking at, we've looked at the front end and the type of how you orchestrate commerce together. And now we're going to look at, what do we need to do in the back end of the solution to create that the right type of experience. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, so the first thing I want to do today is, I guess, again, we're talking commerce, and when we talk commerce, we talk money, right? We talk actual revenue. So let's have a look at some of the opportunity that exists today for businesses in online commerce. So bear with me a moment. We've had some challenges with the slides here. All right, we're going to get there. Right. Okay. So, excuse me. So some of the opportunities exist today. So we've all seen graphs like this over the years. We have a continual growth in the commerce space. Obviously, we had a blip earlier in 2020 with COVID, where there was a massive amount of growth in a very short period of time. But as we can see with this, the blue bar here, the fact that the growth pace has slowed down a little bit globally doesn't mean that the opportunity for commerce, for e-commerce, is reducing. Businesses all over the world are doing everything they can to adapt their organizations, to adapt their technology stacks, to gain a sort of an ever-growing share of this ever-growing pie. And for businesses who are not ready to adopt these kind of more sort of future-facing technology solutions, the opportunity for them is squeezing ever thinner and thinner if they're operating in a more offline space. Now, as we look at this graph here, there's sort of one thing that these black bars really reminded me of, and I'm just trying to think of what it was. So let's just have a quick look here. that would be it. It is the monolith from the original 2001 Space Odyssey movie back in the 70s. So if anyone doesn't know what the monolith is, it's a symbol of technology that seems to have been implanted on Earth by a superior race millennia or even millions of years earlier. And a monolith is kind of characterized by a couple of things. It is mysterious. It is potentially very powerful, though no one seems to know what to do with it and how to use it. But one of the things that characterizes it most importantly is that it never seems to change. It has been there for a very, very long time. And for all we can see, it will be there for a very, very long time in the future. So this is the type of solution, in fact, that many large organizations are using today. They use a solution that is a large, potentially very powerful and very functional solution, but which seems to be immovable and unchangeable over time. And that is actually a challenge in today's technology landscape, in today's commerce landscape. And who better to ask about that than the likes of Gartner, right? So Gartner, always the thought leader, is always talking about how businesses need to move more quickly. They use the words of enterprise agility, and they bring up many examples of why being able to change with the times and change more rapidly is a massive technological and competitive advantage over your competitors. Because at the end of the day, as things move quicker, if you're moving at the same speed as your customers, and if you're moving quicker than your competitors, the advantages for your organization accelerate away from what your competitors are doing. So how do we innovate and how do we move quicker? Well, actually, one of the things, if we have a look at thinking back to the monolithic solutions that many large and legacy brands and retailers are using today, biggest challenge they have is being able to update their solution quickly enough to keep up with the speed of the change of the market. So actually, when we look at legacy brands versus what you call your new digitally native vertical brands, the speed of updates are incredibly different. So, every quarter for your legacy brands, that means even the smallest change to the way their customer experience operates or the way their product offering is presented to the market requires a massive amount of planning, massive amount of time, and a massive amount of investment to bring to market. Obviously, that increases substantially the risk, on one hand, that they are making potentially the wrong choice and they're not able to experiment with changes to see what fits, but also the opportunity cost of the time spent doing things where actually, as they learn throughout that quarter or throughout the year in which they are, that the direction they should be taking is a different one. As far as digitally native vertical brands are concerned, their opportunity is to be able to move at the speed again of their customer or even faster. So they're able to experiment with new market offerings, new ways of deploying their content, new ways of communicating with their customer. And that allows them to, at a very low cost and a very low risk, continue to evolve and essentially settle on the trajectory that improves their growth and allows them to go to market quicker. So why is this? And why do larger organizations change more slowly than smaller organizations? Well, this chipper-looking individual, Scott Brinker, has a theory, right? So Scott Brinker is a long-term market research and MarTech strategist. He is actually a VP at HubSpot, VP of Platform Ecosystem HubSpot, a very well-known MarTech organization. And Scott has a theory which he developed called the MarTech curve. So MarTech's law is based on the concept that while technology changes exponentially, so it changes at an ever increasing rate, organizations change logarithmically. So they change, the rate of change for organizations slows down over time. As you can see with these simple lines here, the technology changes in yellow, organizations in orange there, and the speed is obviously very different. And over time, an organization is born in a certain technology context and a certain rate of change, and the two diverge massively over time. So an organization that doesn't keep up with the times and doesn't allow itself to adapt to new ways of working with new technology is left behind, and over, as time goes by, to a massive degree. So when we look at some of the kind of different changes that have happened in commerce technology over the years, we started with sort of the on-premise monolithic solutions, the things that we looked at earlier on, and we moved through different kind of phases of evolution of technology, going through headless, which is another well-known concept, which is essentially a monolith which is decoupling the back end from the front end, beginning to allow you the type of experiences that you have that Olivia was showing with Contentful, though not fully. Settling on the most recent sort of design paradigm, which is composable commerce. So composable being able to really take all the different bricks, as Chantel explained earlier, of different solutions and build up the perfect solution, overall solution for you. Obviously, the advantage of that composable solution is the ability to change very quickly, make significant changes to your stack by changing in and out different bricks of the solution as you go by. So as we said, an organization may start or may have started, certainly larger organizations, using an on-premise monolith or an early version of a SaaS monolith. And if they stay using that solution for numerous years, their ability to change at the pace of the market reduces over time. So there are opportunities for change at any point in time when new technology arrives on the market. However, and again, as Chantel noted earlier, change is not only a technological one, it's an organizational one. So this change can be quite disruptive to an organization, but the opportunity it unlocks is a new growth trajectory. So if we look at these different options that this organization might have to change to different types of commerce architecture, should they choose to go to the composable architecture, the rate of change that they unlock for their organization is substantially better. So it demonstrates why you need to consider and how that change aspect is going to play into the success of your organization in the future. So some of the issues and sort of the facts that we need to consider when we talk about change, right? So when we look at being future-proof as an organization, we need to understand the kind of the cross-channel nature of the relationships that you have with customers today. So how are you able to deliver the same experience, a consistent experience across those channels, and not just the channels that people are using today, but the channels that people will be using next week and next year. And then, of course, the ones that the businesses that are thriving today often are younger businesses. So if you're a business who's been around for a bit longer, you need to ensure that you're able to kind of really transform the way you are adapting your business over time. We always talk about optimizing for customers. So we heard a lot from Contentful about delivering a customer experience that is consistent, that is attractive, and this is obviously something that we will repeat as being extremely important. Though it is not only around the content that you deliver to those customers, but it is around the product offering, it is around the availability of your products, it is around the performant nature of that experience as it pertains to the back-end commerce capability. So this is extremely important as well. Moving fast and retaining talent is another big area where businesses need to be considering how to improve their offering. So moving fast to deliver things to the market on time, but also ensuring that your employees, so as businesses are becoming increasingly tech focused, the access to the best tech talent is very competitive. So you need to be able to be just demonstrating an understanding of the way the market is going and providing the people who work for your organization opportunities in their careers and making them feel as though they're working for a cutting-edge organization. That way, you'll be able to retain the best talent. Finally, with all of that improvement to the bottom, to sort of the top line of the organization, you need to think about the bottom line as well. So how do you reduce the cost of your overall solution to something which is manageable? How do you offload some of the more challenging aspects of running a technology solution? So, for example, getting away from the on-premise type of infrastructure management and allowing the usage of proper hyperscaler cloud infrastructure, and ensuring that you are reducing the technical debt. So essentially working with providers who can provide you an ever-evolving solution that is stable and that is just performant over time. So Commercetools as a solution basically implements all of these things, right? So we are designed as an end-to-end back-end commerce solution that allows you to ensure you're agile in terms of the offering you give to your customers, ensures that you're flexible in terms of how you organize your operational back-end and how you integrate that with the rest of your business stack, is completely scalable and agnostic in terms of ways it delivers commerce experiences to the outside world, whether that's through traditional channels or through new channels as they evolve. That we are constantly accelerating and improving the way you deliver your solution by providing the best backend tooling and ensuring that it is stable, secure, and also removing the cost barrier to making decisions around how you grow your online business. So basically simplifying and improving the way you can expand, you can introduce new offerings and attack new market segments. So it's really key that you are employing a solid, stable core to this commerce solution that you're looking to build and build out from there. So with that, I am going to hand back to Chantal. Again, we've spoken a lot about the advantages, both Olivia and myself, that composable approach can bring to an organization. But one of the challenges we evoked at the very beginning of today's presentation is how do we actually bring that to fruition, and how difficult, how easy can it be, in fact, to bring a composable solution to market? So let's pass back to Chantal to talk about Vaimo's Launchpad.
Thank you so much, James. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take you through what does Vaimo Launchpad mean and how does this support your business with your digital and composable commerce strategy. I want to start off by basically summarizing what all our speakers have been talking about today. It's really that focusing on digital commerce. So this is really where e-commerce comes from, the birth of e-commerce. But in reality today, you cannot successfully drive an e-com or a digital solution and be competitive if experience is not at the heart of your approach. You cannot drive an exceptional and world-class customer experience if you neglect content or data or insights and activations throughout your solution. It is becoming more and more and more crucial to have all these components in place to really stand out in this digital ecosystem that we are currently working in. So over the past few years, we have been working closely with our partners to create a composable commerce accelerator that we here at Vaimo called the Vaimo Launchpad. For the name Launchpad, we took inspiration from the platform or structure that is underneath a rocket as it's about to launch off into space. We think it's a nice metaphor for the accelerating your composable strategy. Going composable can be quite a daunting task. I mean, it's like you have a box of Legos in front of you and you would like to build something, but you don't have a manual. The possibilities of what you can build with these pieces are endless. We also have clients coming to us and they want to go composable, but they ask, but how do we do this? Hasn't some of this been done before? Can we learn something from existing experiences? What is it that your other clients are doing? So we see that clients do not want to take the risk of being the absolute first, but they also don't want to be left behind the competition. So it's really a catch-22 here. So we decided that we actually wanted answers to all these questions and fill in the blanks around composable commerce already before clients approach us, so that we can properly support our clients on this journey. We invested resources across our different markets with the end goal to create the best practices around solution design, DevOps, and development of composable technologies, effectively creating a solution blueprint so that we can accelerate the implementation and go to market with composable architecture. So we have invested thousands of hours so that you actually don't have to. The Launchpad is a strong baseline for your composable strategy. In fact, you can see the Vaimo Launchpad like a manual, that manual I mentioned in the Lego example earlier, to really kickstart your composable journey. We have selected different pieces and we have tested them, and we have made sure that these pieces work really well together to really address the entire experience concept when it comes to digital. In a nutshell, what is Vaimo Launchpad? It's a composable architecture baseline based on best-of-breed technologies. And it's a set of services and integrations that makes the data flow between these systems. It is a DevOps foundation to enable technical teams to onboard faster and essentially hit the ground running. It is accelerators and technical best practices that speed up implementation so that you can get to market faster. So instead of staring at the blank canvas, maybe give your composable a head start and let the flexibility of what composable architecture are meant to give you work for you, instead of having the complexity work against you. And once you have established that baseline in place, you can then extend and replace or add and subtract parts of the architect, depending on your growth and your needs. And that is essentially what the Vaimo Launchpad is about. Thank you, everyone.
Lovely. So thank you very much, Olivier, James, and Chantal, for giving an insight and sharing your knowledge on how best to go composable and what avenues it can actually unlock for your organization. So I can see throughout the course of our webinar here today, we have received quite a few questions. So I've done my best to jot them down. And just to kick things off, of course, AI had to be mentioned, right? One of the hot trending topics along with composable commerce. So I believe this is best pointed to yourself, Olivier, from Contentful. How is AI integrated as part of your roadmap?
Yes, thank you. Interesting question. So AI is in the head since some time now, and it's fully part of our roadmap. At the moment, we are working on tightly integrating this. We already have, I can invite our attendees to go to our marketplace online, where they will see already a set of apps that are leveraging AI. So you can simply add this app, one of those apps that will help you on both sides. AI is currently used in some applications to provide contents for Contentful records, such as particularly to improve SEO typically, or even to have some content generated for descriptions or for typical fields. But AI is also used now. It's in the process to be also used to help customers define the content structures. So typically, you want to have a site where you will present articles. You do not necessarily need to define yourself your article structure. You can use AI embedded into Contentful to suggest content structure with all the relations between the fields and the content types. So yeah, AI is part of the roadmap since a few quarters now and going on.
And I hope that answers the question there to the attendee who asked that. And I can only imagine AI being a more crucial part when it comes down to building content in the future. So another question that I jotted down is that I see the benefits of moving to a composable architecture, but can you really describe the effort moving from a monolithic architecture to a composable one? I will leave this to yourself, James from Commercetools.
Thanks, David. So the effort of moving from a monolithic architecture to a composable one is let's not kid ourselves, it's not inconsiderable. I mean, there is a lot of functionality that is implemented within that monolith that needs to be replaced by external or different solutions. But what I want to sort of really underline here is that there are on the market today a number of core composable solutions which implement a very wide set of capabilities. So you're not in a situation where you need to identify 15 or 20 different vendors for your initial version of composable stack. That's a really key point. In fact, we have many customers at Commercetools who start their composable journey with basically perhaps a stack composed of about 3 different vendor solutions total. And over time, they, of course, have the opportunity to evolve that. Now they're on a composable journey to a more complex solution that is particularly suited and tailored to their needs. But it's that initial leap which is made perhaps easier than what many businesses can imagine. The second part of that is how you arrive on that journey. And in fact, there are many companies that we work with that prefer to take what they call a strangler approach to the functionality, and that is to bite off individual domains of commerce functionality one at a time. So, for example, taking the cart and the checkout as the initial phase of launch. So essentially moving across to a new solution such as Commercetools to implement the cart and checkout while retaining the rest of the commerce capabilities, that is a product catalog and promotions and pricing, etc., in their monolithic solution until such time as that cart and checkout is implemented, is launched, is stable, and then perhaps taking off the next piece of that overall chunk. And that way, a business is able to do 2 things. One, they're able to adapt and evolve their approach over time, in so much as once they start launching things, seeing how customers are reacting to it, reduce the overall risk of any one of those launches throughout the process of that multi-phased, multi-domainal project, and essentially get to market quicker and get return on investment on the project quicker. So yeah, very happy if anyone wants to get a bit more detail on how that's done to describe it, but it's a very good question.
Brilliant. Thank you, James. So I think more of the story, don't let the initial effort overwhelm you. You can think big and start small and gradually add onto that architecture. So super. The last question here, I see we have 3 minutes left. So if we haven't answered any of your questions, don't worry, we will shoot out an email to you guys later or a LinkedIn message just to make sure your questions are answered. And that is really about speed. So really intriguing about the Launchpad. How long will it take me to get up and running? I think, Chantal, that's for yourself there.
Thank you, Evert. So I think this ties very much in with James's answer just now as well. So just keep in mind that with the Launchpad, this is where we create a baseline. So with the baseline, you can be up and running within about 4 months. But it really depends as well on whether this baseline suits your business needs. So this is where we will most definitely do a discovery to deep dive into what does the baseline look like for your business specifically. And then, like James mentioned as well, it does not need to be this massive rollout in a waterfall approach where everything needs to be ready. It's a phased approach. It's incremental launches that we are looking at as well. So it's really defining what is your baseline and then building on that, but it can be as quick as 4 months.
Super. I hope that clarifies it. So don't be determined or don't be disencouraged, sorry, by the effort needed or the time to market. We can make things move very quickly on our side. And with that said, once again, panelists, appreciate your time in today's session. And more importantly, attendees, thank you for taking 1 hour out of your day to get a better understanding of Go Composable. Now, is it the right fit? Is it not the right fit yet? If you have any questions, please reach out to us on LinkedIn. And also, excitingly enough, we will be at Seamless Saudi Arabia next week, Monday and Tuesday. So look for Chantal, myself, and Brendan. We are located at booth Z41. And as I mentioned, any questions, shoot it out to us on LinkedIn. And thank you all for your time in today's webinar. With that being said, enjoy the rest of your days, enjoy the weekend when it arrives, and we'll be in touch. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.